I feel the pain, but where's the gain? Pain and Gain. Pain and Gain stars Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Anthony Mackie, and is directed by Michael Bay. The story is loosely based off a true story of three guys who want a better life and want to live the American dream. In order to do so, they decide to kidnap and torture this rich guy played by Tony Shalhoub, who visits a gym who's a client of the main character, played by Mark Wahlberg, who teams up with Anthony Mackie and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to do so. The acting in the movie is actually pretty good. Yeah, Mackie brings it. I'm a huge fan of Mark Wahlberg's comedy performances, and it worked well in the movie, but I have to admit, alright, to my utmost surprise, the scene stealer in the film is The Rock. I mean, he's doing quite a few movies this year, and I'm excited to see him in more because he actually acts really, really well. No jokes. And, well, that's of course with whatever he has to work with, but at the end of the day, he does a pretty good performance. The dialogue in the movie is not so impressive. It's written with cliches, and the jokes at times are just pretty annoying, and they kind of draw you out of the film, which is not surprising because this is directed by Michael Bay. Michael Bay is the man who brought us the Transformers film series, which personally I do not hate as much as others do, but I can admit the second film was quite bad. The first and the third had great action, and Michael Bay is good at directing action scenes, but, when it comes to dialogue-based, simple scenes like that, Bay seems to feel the need to add his own spin on it, and that doesn't often work. This is certainly the most indulgent of the Michael Bay movies. The film as a whole is kind of weird. You may or may not enjoy watching it, but either way, you will not remember most of it when you leave. It's strange because Pain and Gain is one of those movies that I dislike, but I'd be willing to watch again. I mean, that doesn't happen to me with a lot of movies. The film does have its positives, of course, including a fantastic introduction to the story. I think the first 5 to 10 minutes of the film are pure brilliance, but then it just gets more disappointing as we go along. There were some good performances, of course, Wahlberg and The Rock, and it had a pretty good score. The film had an actually really good score. But the film suffers greatly due to a few other things. The writing. The writing really confused me. It had some interesting stuff it was trying to say, but in the middle of all that, there are jokes and things about fitness, which is super weird. That angle, the fitness aspect to me just didn't work. The pacing of the film was also completely off. It was very inconsistent. There's actually some intense moments in the movie, which I was surprised to see, but right after, there's like a 2.5 minute music video. Yes, there is literally a music video kind of advertising some fancy-ass stores. That's what it felt like to me, and that's after a pretty intense scene, so the pacing and the intensity was really inconsistent. The film is inconsistent. The strangest thing about the movie is that it's based off a true story, and yet somehow Michael Bay decides to change things around, make it into this comedy movie, and nothing feels right throughout most of the movie. It was presented and executed in the wrong way, which is a huge negative to the movie. Take, for example, Argo. Even though the events were so bizarre, they were still made believable because they were done right, which is not the case for Pain and Gain. The film was also overlong certain times upon watching other movies. When I see other movies, I see the deleted scenes of those movies, and I'm like, how did those make the cutting floor? Whereas with Pain and Gain, I wonder how many scenes did not make the cutting floor. The film's too long, at least 20 minutes long. The film as a whole may entertain you, but may also displease you. Now, it's your call, depending on what kind of movies you like, but I would not recommend it to most people, because I'm going 3.5 out of 10. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This is Mr. Film Jack. Comment below, let me know what you think. Make sure to subscribe, and expect more.